I don't know how many people out there knows about Carmen Sandiego as much as I do. This is the educational game series that my older brother and I loved and grew up with. To quickly fill you in on what it is, the series has put its fans on a countless number of cases to recover stolen loot and arrest villains, especially the world's greatest thief and criminal mastermind herself. Now Carmen Sandiego makes its video game return, but unfortunately it's not a big one. Carmen Sandiego Adventures in Math is an underwhelming educational gaming experience. Catching vile villains and solving global mysteries on WiiWare just isn't as fun as it was over a decade ago. Still, since I'm still quite a big fan of the series, I'm obligated to make this review for Carmen Sandiego Adventures in Math, the Big Ben Burglary. The game's presentation is so sloppy and boring. Some of the text is so low-res that it looks like it used the font ripped directly from a Word document. The low resolution also shows on the bad quality close-ups on the characters you meet upon entering a building. And despite the fact that you travel from country to country and city to city, it doesn't feel like you really are in London or Tokyo or Miami. When you enter a certain section of any city, all you get is one enclosed space with only about 2 to 3 people on it. There is no animation or liveliness in the scenes you enter, and the colors can get bland from time to time. The game also has a severely limited and unauthentic musical score, and whoever voiced these characters did not show enough emotion or realism.
Of each part?
Can you figure out the relationship between the numbers and the figures on the dials, and turn the dials to the right combination?
And believe me, nobody, and I mean nobody, says things like "dude" or "gnarly" in Miami. The gameplay is similar to that of the Professor Layton series. You take on a mystery and you talk to various people to gather clues and information that can lead to solving the mystery and catching the culprit. And you solve brain-teasing puzzles to progress through the story. And that's what's about this game. It doesn't feel like Carmen at all. The gameplay mechanic that involves issuing warrants to catch criminals has drastically changed. Instead of waiting until you arrest a suspect to see if you caught the criminal, all you have to do is use the clues to select the right suspect from a list of suspects, and you solve the case. The way you gather new clues has also been greatly simplified. Instead of leaving it on the player to choose the right clues from several of them, you get a lead to your criminal right after you solve a major puzzle. And talking with bystanders about the criminal's characteristics and whereabouts is dull and far less interactive than before. Throw in Carmen provoking you from time to time through your Wii remote as your Acme phone, and an unexciting, generic depiction of the chief, and that's all the Carmen Sandiego you get. Where are all the Acme good guys like Antiquity and Rock Solid? Where's the ever-mounting suspense of racing against time to catch a criminal? Where's all of that? Perhaps the learning company also didn't get the memo that the Wii Remote's point-and-click controls aren't all they are cracked up to be. These controls are used to move your character, find hidden objects such as hint coins to help solve puzzles, and solve the puzzles themselves. They work, but again, they just aren't fun. Speaking of the puzzles, they are intended to test the math skills of 4th and 5th graders. That's no biggie. But they were just way too simplistic. For instance, pinpointing one location on the coordinates map can be done in a flash, and having the player solve equations where the answers range from 0 to 9 isn't that big of a challenge. If you ask me, one of the most challenging puzzles in this game is figuring out the price of each kind of sushi found in the sushi box, but that's all the challenge that you could expect here. With such simplistic puzzles, I beat the story mode within just an hour. The only other gameplay options are a practice mode, which is just all the same puzzles found in the story mode but with different numbers, and a multiplayer mode which... well, the game was so boring that I didn't bother to get into it. And guess what? That's really all there is to expect in the Big Ben Burglary. And if you think this game is bad enough, the Big Ben Burglary is only one chapter in the 5-part WiiWare series available on the Wii Shop right now. Seriously, what reason does the learning company have to make a 5-part video game series that uses the same boring gameplay style over and over again? With that being said, for everybody watching this review, if you want a real Carmen Sandiego experience, save your 600 Wii points for something else. Invest a little more on your $6 and get Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego for PC for cheap on Amazon.com or something. It's a far more rewarding educational gaming experience than what you'll find here on WiiWare. And that's why Carmen Sandiego Adventures in Math, the Big Ben Burglary, rated E for everyone, gets a disappointing 3 out of 10.